Does the very mention of going to school make you freak out? You are not alone. We're going to be talking about school anxiety. Stay tuned. That's what's up next. Welcome to another episode of Ask the Child Therapist, Kids Edition. I'm Natasha Daniels. I'm a child therapist, and I make videos to help kids with anxiety and OCD. If you're a kid who likes these videos and likes help, give a thumbs up. Today, I want to talk to you about school anxiety because a big chunk of the kids I work with in my practice have major issues going to school because that's kind of where a lot of anxiety pops up. So school refusal, as some people would call it, school freak out, as I would call it, is really common. It's actually an incredibly common thing that goes right along with anxiety. So I want to talk to you today about why it's happening and how to deal with it. So the first thing you want to do is figure out, if you haven't already, what is causing your panic when you go to school. Surprisingly, some kids really don't know, and parents will look for outside reasons, and maybe there is an outside reason. But if you have anxiety, more often than not, it has nothing to do with the school environment and a lot more to do with you. So the first step we want to do is figure out what it is. Because a lot of kids will come into my practice and they'll say, Natasha, I don't know. I just don't want to go to school. And I'll get things like, I just feel more comfortable at home. I just want to be with my mom. I just feel safer at home. I just feel good at home. School is so boring. Like, what's the purpose of school anyway? I just really don't need to go to school. I think homeschooling would be a much better option for me. I just feel sick when I have to go to school. What is it for you? Because even though school refusal is really, really common, the reason for school refusal is different for each kid. And we have to get to that core fear, because without getting to that core fear, nothing's going to get resolved. Because school is not the problem. And if it is, and it's not anxiety, you need to stop this video, put it on pause, go find your mom or dad and tell them what's going on. Because if there's a kid bothering you or a teacher who's being harsh or something really horrible happening at school, this isn't about school and anxiety. This is about a school problem. Okay, so we've ruled out any school problems. So now we have to talk about what is the core fear around school for you. Now there are some really common ones, and I'll go into more detail in separate breakout videos on each of these topics. But today is a general issue about school. So the common ones I see are fear of separating from your mom. So either I'm afraid, like, is she okay? What is she doing while I'm at school? Or am I okay? I don't feel safe unless I'm right next to my mom. What if something bad happens to me? My mom's not here to protect me. So those two issues are really, really common when it comes to school panic. Another one is what we talked about last week, which is emetophobia, fear of throwing up. And so school refusal and fear of throwing up are very, very tied. In fact, you can throw separation anxiety in there too, because most kids, or a lot of kids, have all three. So it might be, I don't want to go to school. What if I get sick at school? What if I throw up at school? What if my stomach hurts so bad I can't handle it at school? If you haven't watched my video on how to deal with anxious thoughts, you should watch it right here, because I talk about snowball thinking and how we grow our thoughts. And that's a really, really good video to watch along with this one. So those are the main reasons that I see kids having issues with going to school. They're afraid to separate from their mom, they're afraid they're going to throw up, or they're afraid they're going to do poorly in school. Now the fourth one, if I was to say there's four of them, is some social anxiety. So I'm afraid to go to school because I'm afraid people are going to laugh at me, make fun of me. I feel uncomfortable. I'm afraid to eat or poop or pee or raise my hand. I don't want any attention on me. And yet I'm having a hard time meeting people because I don't want to talk to anybody. So social anxiety is also a pretty big reason why school can be a nightmare. So those are the four main reasons: fear of separating, throwing up, doing poorly, or having to socialize or being put on the spot. You might have something different, but those are the four most common ones. So you have to address those issues before going to school gets any better, because that's the core issue. You should have your parents listen to my podcast on core fears and how to find out the core fear. And maybe they can help you figure out what it is for you and how to deal with it. You also want to learn how to battle those thoughts. So watch my YouTube video on red thoughts and green thoughts so that you know how to change the channel in your brain and tackle whatever you're telling yourself about school, about why you're not safe when you're not with your mom, or why your mom is safe when she's not with you, or why throwing up is not a big deal. And the more you worry about it, the more it's going to make you feel sick. If you haven't already, watch my video on fear of throwing up. That actually might help. So we have all this fear of throwing up. And then I want to ask you, when was the last time you threw up? Now, for most of you, maybe not all, but most of you, it's going to be a really long time ago. How often do you throw up? For most of you, it's not going to be often. It might be one day out of 365 days. So you can have two people, one who worries about throwing up every single day of their life, and the other who doesn't worry about throwing up really at all unless they feel really sick because they have a virus. They're both going to have one day in their entire calendar year that they might throw up. But one person suffered every single day. Their stomach hurt every single day. They had like mini stomach viruses the entire year. And the other person, who didn't really worry about it and didn't have this fear, went through life, had beautiful days, had beautiful moments, didn't have anxiety, and they both threw up once a year. Same end result, but one was worried about it and one wasn't. Don't be that person that makes mini stomach viruses every day for the entire calendar year. That's not fair. That's not fun. You don't have to do that. Because you know what? No matter what you do, no matter how you prevent it, how much you wash your hands, or how much you try to avoid germs, you're still going to get sick like everybody else because it's unavoidable. It's going to happen. And it's going to be that 1 or 2 times a year, just like that other kid. The only difference is that you're going to worry about it every single day. You don't need to do that. So what's your core fear? If you had to think about what makes you anxious about going to school, what is it? Leave a comment below and share it, because I'm going to look at those comments and I'm going to make videos specific to those core fears so that we can address them. So once we know what the core fear is, then you want to tackle it with your red thoughts and green thoughts. And so you want to, if your anxiety is like, you're going to get really sick, you want to have your green thought that says, you know what, you make me sick because that's what you do. You have the ability to hit my stomach, but the more I worry about it and the more I'm like really hyper-focused about, oh gosh, I'm going to get sicker, the worse it gets. So I'm going to just accept that I have a stomach ache. I know you're going to go away as soon as I am in school for a little while. I'm going to fight through this. I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to go to school. So watch that video about red thoughts and green thoughts. I left a link up there because that's going to teach you in more detail about how to tackle your thoughts. Now, the vicious thing about anxiety is it loves avoidance. And so the more you avoid, the bigger it grows. And I say that almost every video because it's a really important message that I want you to get, is that anxiety's fuel, its yummy treats, is avoidance. So when you feed it, oh, come here, anxiety, you want some treats? You want some avoidance? Okay, here you go. Yay! And then it grows bigger. I want some more. It's like an anxiety dog. So don't give your anxiety treats, which is avoidance, because it's going to want more. It's going to do more of what it loves to do, which is hurt your stomach, make you feel anxious, make you feel sick, make you feel really worried, and ignore. And you do the activity anyway. I know that's easier said than done. Trust me, I have anxiety and I hate when I have to do things I don't want to do. But afterwards, I feel pride and I feel empowered and I feel strong because I'm like, you know what? I just kicked anxiety's butt. It told me not to do that and I did not want to do that. But it wasn't really me who didn't want to do it. It was my anxiety. And so when I did it and I felt so good about it, my anxiety got quieter. Because I'm like, bring it on, anxiety. You want to tell me not to do that again? Because I'm going to do more of it and more of it. And eventually you go away. So school's a big one when you're a kid. Anxiety is going to say, don't go to school. And it's going to lie to you. And it's going to tell you, you know what? It's not anxiety. It's not me. It's school. School is sucktastic. I mean, who likes school anyway? I mean, who created school? It's going to try to distract you and get you to focus on school as the problem and not your anxiety. But I have something to tell you, something really important. Come here, lean in. School's not the problem. It's anxiety. And you want another secret? Come here. Once you get rid of school, it's going to want to get rid of other things too. So you know that fun event that you like to go to? Bye-bye. You know, going to the grocery store, going to restaurants, going out, leaving your house? Bye-bye. Because anxiety is never satisfied. So if you want to feed it some avoidance treats, come here. I won't go to school. I'm going to be homeschooled. Homeschool rocks. Well, guess what? I work with a lot of people who are in their 20s who are still not able to leave their house because when they were your age, they avoided. And they said, you know what? As long as I got rid of school, I would be totally fine. That's the anxiety lie. It says, if you could just get rid of school, your anxiety will go away. And a lot of parents believe this too. And they'll say, you know what? School is the problem. If we can get rid of school, everything will be fine. Now, for some of you, you might need to do that for a little while to take a break. But if you could power through it, and if you're avoiding school purely because school is causing anxiety, it's not a good thing to avoid it. Because it's not school, it's avoidance that anxiety wants. And so once you avoid school and you get homeschooled, it's going to find other things to feed off of, other things that you can give it as treats. So the best thing to do is to try to get to school on any level that you can. Now that might look different depending on each kid. So if you are having a hard time just getting to school at all, you can't even get in the car, then your little baby step will be to get in the car and drive to the parking lot. And then maybe the next day you're going to walk into school and walk around and then you're going to leave. Now for some of you, you can go through the whole day. And so that baby step is too tiny for you. Don't go backwards. You want to go forward. So you want to get just slightly out of your comfort zone. If you can go half the day, and normally you can't go at all, that's a big step. If you can go the whole day, but you have to text your mom, then maybe you work on only texting her once. And then maybe you work on not texting her at all. So it's going to look different for each one of you. So you say, how far can I go? Because the more I push back, the more I say, anxiety, back off, stop bullying me. You're making me feel sick, or you're making me feel scared, and you're making me think school's a problem. I'm going to push you, and I'm going to do a little bit out of my comfort zone, and I'm going to eventually get to school. That will take the power away from your anxiety. It will deflate your anxiety over time, and eventually, when you continue to push through and go to school, school won't be a problem. I've worked with tons of kids in my practice, and we've done this. We've done red thoughts and green thoughts from this video, and we've talked about bullying anxiety back, and kids have made little baby steps, and they've pushed and pushed and pushed and gone longer and longer, and eventually anxiety gives up and says, you know what, school is not a good target. I'm gonna get nothing from her. Every time I tell her to freak out and avoid school, she goes anyway. So we're gonna just forget it. That is what you want. So I know that school panic is a big problem, and my little video maybe can help you just a little bit. Understand why you're refusing to go to school, understand why school is such an anxiety-producing thing, and give you a little bit of power to push back a little bit. And every day when you push back, you're gonna grow stronger and stronger, and your anxiety is gonna get weaker and weaker. I promise. If you have other anxiety topics you want me to cover, don't forget to leave a comment below, and I will be sure to read those and make a list and cover them in future videos. If you're enjoying my videos, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe, because I'll be coming out with new videos every Thursday. I hope you find the sparkle in everything you do. Until next time, take care.